Hello, everyone. I'm James Milan. Welcome to this DPCD update. DPCD is our Department of Planning and Community Development, and I am, of course, talking to the director of that department here in town, Jennifer Raitt, as I always get to do. Hi, Jenny. Good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Um, Beautiful October that we're enjoying here, I have to say, and plenty of people have probably spent some time out on the Minuteman Bikeway, which is one of our best known, one of our best loved, and one of our best used resources here in town. So the town just released a notice that said that there's about the Minuteman Bikeway planning study. I didn't know anything about this. Maybe other people feel the same. So can you tell us what's the study about and what are the implications for Arlingtonians?
Absolutely. Um, Thank you again. And this is actually a very exciting project because, the Minuteman Bikeway has been in the community for more than 25 years. We celebrated it. It is so widely used. It is a tremendous asset, not just in Arlington, but to the entire region. I mean, people come to the region and see this resource for the entire bikeway to get to historic resources and other assets. And we see it as an opportunity to kind of leverage even more from that resource. The connections, the possibilities, and of course the improvements along the bikeway are what we're really talking about and planning for. So we were able to secure funding through the Community Preservation Act program with the town in the amount of $80,000 to help us with a planning project that aims to look at a number of different issues along the bikeway. Everything from safety issues, access on and to the bikeway, and sort of really elevating some community-wide goals and policies and priorities to then create an implementation plan that we can move forward with to make some improvements. And we envision these improvements could be infrastructure types of improvements that range from making sure that the surface is maintained along the bikeway, improved striping and visibility, perhaps improved signage, maybe lighting, which does not exist along the entire bikeway.
Mhm.
And then looking at these sort of nodes, if you will, along the bikeway where there's sort of these stopping points, whether they're public or private stopping points. We want to make them into something a little bit more special and unique. Some of them that come to mind are Lake Street is one of these intersections. There's an intersection in Arlington Center, an intersection in Arlington Heights, and all of those places allow for some more opportunities. And it could be everything from just simply signage to and from the bikeway from the business district. Or it could be opportunities for public art installations. Some of these things are already happening, and there's been other planning processes that have encouraged this, but we thought that a community-wide process would allow us to really figure out some of those top priorities and goals, and then also to inform some policies moving forward for the bikeway.
Sounds great. As I've mentioned before in talking to you, I have spent literally thousands of hours on the bike path myself, and continue to do so. And so I can tell how what you're talking about will enhance the experience even further. So looking forward to that. And obviously, you'll be working with feedback and input from the public, as you always do, around how to, you know, make the changes and implement the innovations that you're talking about.
Yes, and so we hired Kittleson and Associates, who is helping us to move this project forward. The first step is actually for people like you and many other users of the bikeway, and maybe non-users who have some ideas about how it would make it better for them to use the bikeway, to take our public survey, which is posted on the town's website. That'll help us to gather some more information about how people are or are not using the bikeway, their experience in terms of using the bikeway, and what are the issues that they think most need some improvement for the short term and the long term. We're also hosting a public forum on Wednesday, November 3rd at 7 p.m. And that is to share the scope of the project, some of the existing conditions that we're going to be finding through Kittleson and Associates, and to gather more specific information about user experience, some of the way that the bikeway is currently used, and some priorities. So the survey and the forum are two ways to engage.
Will the forum on the 3rd of November be a live or virtual one?
It will be a virtual forum, yes.
Okay, yeah. Ever hopeful we are, but understanding, of course, that we still live in the virtual world largely. Okay, moving on. I had referenced already the beautiful stretch of weather we've been enjoying here in October, and it just reinforces my own sense that September and October in New England are some of the just best months that you could have. I think one of the ways in which people have been enjoying this weather is that they've started to be sitting on the benches and taking in the views, et cetera, from the newly finished Whittlemore Park. This being one of the number of construction projects in town that in our most recent town hall update, town manager Adam Chapdelaine kind of chronicled the progress on a number of different things. But I do think Whittlemore Park is one of the more conspicuous improvement projects going on here. And so I'm wondering, people have begun to use it. Everybody passes it all the time. Is there going to be any kind of formal celebration? Is there any formal celebration planned for the opening of the new Whittlemore Park?
Yes, we are planning for a reopening celebration on October 25th at 9:30 a.m. and holding actually the day after on the 26th at 3 p.m. in case of rain. So we are really excited about phase one being finished. If you haven't seen it already, we would encourage people to take a look right in Arlington Center, right at the intersection of Mystic and Mass Ave, in front of, as you said, the Jefferson Cutter House, where the Dallin Museum is located, across the street from Uncle Sam Plaza. So lots of markers. If you can't find your way there, hopefully you will, and be able to enjoy a beautiful new bench. There's wonderful lighting, nice grassy area to sit and relax, many other opportunities to just stroll through and enjoy the park. And you can see all of the improvements that have taken place. This is the end of phase one, of course, which means that we still have another phase that we will be working on, which is really the area around the immediate property and the house, to ensure for even greater accessibility, improvements to the gardens, and just overall better experience of the interface between the sidewalks and the building, and making sure that we have some really nice surfaces for people to be able to walk on.
And as you have already mentioned, Whittlemore Park sits right on one of the four corners of the main intersection here in town of Pleasant Street and Mass Ave, and just one long block to the east of Whittlemore Park, towards Cambridge, is Medford Street, and Parklets on Medford Street have been new and improved as well. I've spoken with both you and with Allie Carter from your department about these parklets before, but what's the story behind those, and how long can residents expect the parklets to be, accessible as we start to head into the winter?
Yes. And so the parklet is being improved because we received a $50,000 grant through MassDOT through their Shared Streets and Spaces grant program that happened earlier this summer. And the funding allowed us to purchase, new seating, umbrellas, and some plantings, and a platform that has all been installed. And it does look really amazing and wonderful. And it will be up for the next, through November, so people can enjoy it during that time. We are looking at some permanent possibilities to make a parklet in that area more permanent, so that people can enjoy that experience. We've seen people using it pretty much all hours of the day. That particular parklet is very popular. Both with, and people really of all ages and abilities are very interested in being able to engage in that space. So it might not look just like that for forever, but for now, we're very pleased with the outcome of the installation of that parklet. And really thanks to a full crew from the Department of Public Works, spending days assembling all of the equipment and putting things together, locating all of the tables, and then also assistance with the plantings from a local Arlington business to be able to help to beautify the space. The umbrellas are also, gorgeous and a nice addition to be able to have some shade while you're sitting outside where the sun is usually beaming.
Mhm.
So I'm very pleased with all of that. And both for this project as well as the Whittlemore Park, none of this would have happened without the leadership of Allie Carter on my team. So I'm just really want to say to everybody that really she has kept these two projects moving and going forward throughout the entire pandemic, making sure that we're coordinating with all different types of resources, both from a funding perspective and all of the different people who've participated in the process. It's been a lot to get it done and move it forward, and so I'm very pleased with the results.
Yeah, and definitely shout out to Allie. She deserves it. But also, I wanted to ask before we move on, just if you wouldn't mind touching on. We've talked about this before, but there's a couple of special features of the infrastructure, so to speak, of this parklet, and wondered if you wouldn't mind just reminding our audience of what they can find if they choose to make use of that parklet.
In the parklet. The
Mhm.
parklet has the parklet is different than a lot of the other parklets that people have been going to, where they're sort of just tables and chairs occupying what would be normally a parking space for a vehicle. This parklet has a raised seating area, so it's like a deck, essentially, where it's level to the curb. So all you have to do is just walk right over to it. You don't have to go around and down, find your way, navigate across different surfaces.
So
This is a
making it
level
automatically more accessible, basically,
level
to everyone.
platform. Exactly. And then we still have the picnic tables, but they're configured in different ways so that there will also be enough seating that's accessible for people of all abilities. And also the umbrellas have, these, they illuminate, and then there are also spaces where you can charge devices. And then, of course, the plantings, are actually a part of the whole entire platform of the parklet. So they're embedded into it, as opposed to seeing, some of the barriers that we've been using were sort of temporary equipment because we wanted people to be able to get outside. But these suggest a little bit more permanence, and I think have an improved aesthetic for the people who are going to be seated in the parklet.
Yeah, I do think that the whole thing is a great illustration of the way the planning department works in some ways, especially if you're lucky enough to get an influx of money to be able to help you to do these things. But, last year things got kind of thrown in there just like they were everywhere else in order to get people to be able to dine outside and to hang out outside, which was, as we all knew, a much safer place to be. But that things don't end there, things start there, and then you kind of build from there. And so we're enjoying, like we have said, a new and improved parklet space that hopefully, will be maybe something that we can see in other parts of town as well, as again, the planning department continues to do the work that it does.
Thank
Um,
you. I think it's also a good illustration of our working relationship with the business community, in that, a number of the businesses along that block on Medford Street have been contributing and participating and providing feedback. Some of them have their own tables outside, bistro tables, and seats there, but everybody has really been enthusiastic about this particular parklet and making sure that it's successful. And part of that is listening to the business community, getting the feedback that we need in order to make something potentially more permanent.
Good point. Um, you know, a DPCD update would not be what it is without me asking you about one of the current plans. So this time,
Yes.
I'm going to ask if there are any updates about the housing plan, which is one of the, I'm obviously you always have multiple plans going on. Two of the major ones are open space and recreation, and then the housing plan. So let's just check in on the housing plan.
Yes, it's a very good question. And it is definitely one of our plans in progress, the housing production plan. This is an update to Arlington's 5-year plan that outlines our housing goals and strategies. It lifts up the different needs in the community around housing, and helps us to really think about the policies that we need to put into place to move things forward. Just like everything, we do a lot of planning that hopefully sort of moves the needle or makes a change in the future. Otherwise, things do inevitably stay the same, or the market kind of takes over and does things in its own way. So the housing plan is a way for the town to position itself in a better way to move forward with affordable housing creation and preservation. So right now, what's happening is we did that meeting in a box for the sort of round one of it, which was helping people to talk about the housing needs and some of the sort of what people are seeing in terms of housing trends. The second round is asking people to talk about goals and strategies. What do they think would be the best way to tackle issues around affordable housing development or preservation? This meeting in a box round is something that we've had open for a little while now, and we're hoping that people will turn it back into us on October 27th. All of the information is on the Housing Plan Implementation Committee's webpage. We had a mapping activity that was open as well. That closed on October 8th. Both that activity and the goals and strategies, as well as the prior forum, are all helping to inform the creation of the draft housing production plan, which we are then going to release on November 9th, which is our third forum, where we're going to be taking some input again before we move it on to the final phase of the project. So right now we're just looking at the meeting in a box, goals and strategies, and the participation at the November 9th meeting.
All right. So again, ongoing opportunities for people to weigh in on these very important issues. Let's hope that people take advantage of those opportunities.
Yes.
Okay, last thing, you have taken up a lot of your time today, but is there anything else that you feel like people need to know?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. I just wanted to let everybody know that we've promoted Kelly Linema, who has been serving as our senior planner in the department for the past 3 years, to the assistant director role. Very enthusiastic and excited that Kelly is our new assistant director. She's going to continue to do amazing work for the community. She's already been instrumental on a number of different projects and initiatives that have happened in the town, and I'm just very pleased to make this announcement.
All right, congratulations and good luck to Kelly. All right, I have been speaking with the director of our Department of excuse me, Planning and Community Development, and that is DPCD, and I now have a voice again. I'm James Milan. She is Jennifer Raitt. Thanks so much for joining us. Thank you, Jenny. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
See you soon. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks a lot. Thank you for joining us out there. We'll see you next time.